Wow, I literally just say it and then I forget. That is me, everyone. What's up, everybody? It is Thunder here from HG Central, and welcome to part 8 of Stuntman. Now we're going to be focusing on towards the speed tests in the game, and because we've beaten the game's career mode, we've already unlocked them all. So we're going to work our way down, starting with London, with the promotional car that we unlocked earlier in the game. Oh yeah. And here we are with the first speed test in London. Now, the way the speed tests work is you go through a section of the courses, or like a special variation at least, of what you drove in the career mode. And of course, we start with London because that's where we started. It's where we're doing Toothless and Whopping. So I thought, why not go with the... why don't go... Oh, Jesus Christ. Why don't we go with the modified Capri that we got as the promotional vehicle for getting our first promotion in Stuntman? Because it fits the fact that with Toothless and Whopping, we did the first 3 of its 5 stunts with the Capri, so kind of fits in with the scene very well. Except just faster. And this car has interesting, sharp handling, and it is a quick car. It's a pretty fun car to drive, so... definitely recommended. Though I should mention as well, even if you don't necessarily get the promotion right after the movie you do, as long as you hit the career earnings, I believe you still do reach the promotion. I've seen it in videos before. But anyways, there's not going to be a lot for me to say about these because, I guess, apart from the courses itself. But this course is pretty simple. Nothing really too difficult about it. You do each course 3 times, and yeah. Of course, Toothless and Whopping was the easiest of them all, so I guess that explains why this is not very difficult to do at all. But yeah, just that's all I can really say about it, so I guess maybe I should bring up some conversation about this game. I actually did get this game when it first came out back in 2002. I didn't exactly get it new, I believe, though. I'm trying to remember now, but it was a while back when I got this game. Now, I've had a couple PS2s before. I think we used to borrow like a PS2 for a while. The first experience I had at this game was not in when I got it years ago. It was actually we were borrowing a PS2 from like a friend of ours, which the PS2 was still like a really neat and really cool thing because it was 2002. And we got to, of course, borrow a couple of the games because we needed something to play on it. The guys that we borrowed it from had a couple racing games. This was one of them. The other one that I can easily remember was Gran Turismo 3. But this, as a kid, I just played it for the first time, and I was like, wow, this is kind of fun. I, of course, sucked at the game badly, and because it is a hard game to do anyways. But, you know, I found it to be a very fun game, and I was like, I really want to get this game again when we eventually buy buy our own PS2, because that was bound to happen. Flash forward, I think, a couple years later. Now, I don't exactly remember how this all transitions out, because I am dumb, but eventually we did get a PlayStation 2. It was 2003, 2004, it was something like that. And one of the first games that I went out and bought was Stuntman. And it was... Now, of course, I didn't buy it myself, because I was like 8 or 9 years old at the time, but... it was one of the first games I got to really properly play when we had our own PS2, and yeah, I screwed up there, because I'm dumb! But, I just remember being so hooked to this game. Of course, I used cheat codes, though, because I was not very good at the game. I don't really bother with the names here, because, yeah, I kind of show it off here, but no reason for me to show it again. Anyways, next up. And now we move on to the second, which is, of course, in Louisiana, where we did a whooping and a hollering. And I thought it would be appropriate to bring a muscle-related car, so I brought the patriotic Stuntman livery Charger for this, because why not? Now, as I was saying, so this was one of the first games I remember playing as a kid, and it's a lot of fun. At least PlayStation 2-wise, keep in mind. I played games older than that, when I was even younger. But... basically, what I remember is that I would always use the master cheat code in this game because I was really bad. And I believe, I can still remember it to this day, it is capital B, lowercase IND, capital I. That would basically unlock everything. And every time you put it in, it would be like, you are a cheat. You've unlocked the lot. Pretty much. Now, I know that in the PAL version of the game, it actually is different. I believe it is... I don't know if it still has the same kind of format where the first and last letter are capitals, but I believe for that one it is B-I-N-D-E-R-S, binders. So instead of bindai for what we got, it was binders for them, which kind of made a lot more sense name-wise. But anyways, this one is a little bit different. Not too difficult again, but this one, unlike the other ones where it's lapped, this one is like a point-to-point. So it's different after all, huh? Again, no, not very difficult, so... but yeah, so I would just often always put that code in, and I would always just go into Stunt Arena and make my own, like, stupid, like, setups for a lot of jumps and stuff, because as a kid, that stuff is absolutely fun as hell to do. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you grew up with this game as a kid, you probably remember doing that in the stunt mode, just making your own crazy shenanigans just because it's a lot of fun. Now, of course, if you either had to put the code, or you actually were amazingly someone who was really good at the game even as a kid, in order to get any the props. One that always seemed to yeah, I really screwed that up. But one that really seemed to get me really stuck, and it's embarrassing that I almost say this, but one thing that really got me stuck as a kid was the last stunts for the final stunt in 2000 Whopping, because I, for some reason, never knew what the action button was, so I never knew what to hit when I had to do the cannon roll. So I'd always do it, and I'd always fail, and I was wondering what I did wrong. Of course, I knew what I did wrong. Anyways, next up, we're going to go to the third one. And now we move on to the third area, which is, of course, Bangkok. And, excuse me, in a tuk-tuk, or three-wheel tuk-tuk, but not the one that we were... excuse me again, that we were driving earlier. It is actually, in fact, the promotional one that we got, which is basically a slightly larger version. I chose a tuk-tuk because it, well, fit the scene, because, well, there were the two final stunts in which we used it, so why not? But anyways, yeah, it's actually been a bit of time since I've been doing this recording, because I had to trying to figure out how to set up my voicemail on my phone. Never really done it before, and I couldn't really figure out how to get it done, but as it turned out, when I had a live chat with my phone carrier, because they do that, it turned out that there was actually a problem with my voicemail set up, so they actually fixed it for me, and now I'm able to get my voicemail all set up, and that's all fine and dandy. But yeah, basically, PlayStation 2-wise, I'm trying to remember what other games I played very often. I know back in the day, when we got the PS2, we'd do a lot of renting games, because where we lived when I was younger, we had a rental store for games very close by. It wasn't Blockbuster though, although I think admittedly a Blockbuster wasn't that far either. But there was a better choice at the time. There was better choices. My personal favorite was I don't know if it was because it was cheaper than all the other ones, or just because we preferred it over the other one, was HGPlay, which is now called Game Haven, the same kind of store though. But I think it's because HGPlay was kind of a chain store, then that chain was lost, but the people who owned the store I guess were making enough business that they didn't have to close the store down, so they just rebranded it as Game Haven. I don't know for sure though, but they'd have this service where you can like rent games for like I think 3 days or a week, and the prices were not bad, and they had like a huge library of games, so that was always good. And the discs were fantastic quality. I think they must have had one of those disc cleaners off site, probably why it always worked pretty well, but who knows. And so there was that, and also Rogers, who's actually a phone carrier service for those of you in Canada who probably know. They used to have something called Rogers Video, which was like their rental store version of Blockbuster, and you can rent games there too and whatnot. And they had decent prices and whatnot, but their discs weren't they didn't keep good care of their discs very well. Anyways, that's gonna end it for Bangkok. So on to the next one. And now we move on towards Switzerland, where a conspiracy took place for the pretty interesting speed test here, where you're on an ice course, like an ice rally course. And I decided it'd be appropriate to use the rally car for this. Now there's a couple problems with this. First, I think the game glitched. It did not give me the proper engine sound for this, because I do not remember this rally car sounding like this. Could be wrong, could have always sounded like this, but something seems a bit off because it sounds like the muscle car. So I think it was a glitch or something. I have no idea. But the second problem, as you're probably noticing, is that it's also very hard to see the road. I don't know if it's just because of my settings within the Elgato caused it or not, but it was really hard for me to do this one just because I can't really see the road very well. So I had to kind of memorize the course and then just try to get it down from there. It wasn't fun, to say the least, but I did eventually manage to get it all down and do it quite well. So yeah, the thing with this one is that you gotta be very careful with the throttle here because you're on your ice course. You're pretty much on an ice course the entire time, so you have reduced grip and whatnot, and you can't really get up as much speed as you possibly can, which can help harm you in a way with time checkpoints because you've already noticed they're still there. But yeah, it's not an easy one to master down, but once you get it down, you get it down. Again, though, I don't know if it's just because my settings made it hard for me to see the icy road or not, or it's just poor design from Reflections, because I remember the one in the actual stunt in the movie being easier to see, and it's the same kind of thing, so I don't know. Maybe I'm being wrong, maybe it's just that one's like a layout where it's easy to remember, I don't know. But honestly, it took me quite a while to get this one down because of it. So yeah, nice car though. Fun car to drive, definitely for sure. But you know, it's like I'm driving on snow the whole time. I have no idea what I'm saying. Actually, I do have an idea of what I'm saying. I just don't say it very well. But then again, what else can I say, I guess, really? So, pretty much we're just coming up to the finish here for this one after the long drive. It does actually you can actually cut quite close to the time here, I've noticed. I don't know if it's better if it just depends on the vehicle or I have no idea, but yeah, I cut it awfully close, but I did make it, so that's what matters in the end. And you can see there's a couple of my failed runs. Anyways, next up. And now, of course, we head to Egypt, where we did, of course, well, the Scarab of Lost Souls, using, yes, another promotional vehicle. I've used quite a lot of promotional vehicles here, I know. But basically, this is, in fact, the Jeep that we unlocked from this area, just in its regular, you know, production form as it would be. Also kind of like how it says tiny, so it's like it's trying to make fun of. It's like, oh, it's just the regular road-going version. It's a dwarf compared to the rest of them. I have no idea if that was what they were going for, or it's just some other complete reference or not. But, you know, it's a Jeep, and it drives quite nicely. But, so that's that. Anyways. But yeah, Jeep-wise is a fun vehicle to drive. I actually had a bit of an incident where I got stuck on an area, I think it was around here, and I ended up failing because I ran out of time. But this vehicle is, as you probably are seeing because I'm showing this front, this vehicle is completely capable of doing it. And of course you kind of do have to be careful there because of course that can happen, and if you're unlucky enough the car may flip because of it. But alas, that did not happen, so I didn't have to worry about that whatsoever. Just go down that as just easier path. So yeah, what else can I say about my older video game lineage? I actually had an Xbox first before I had a PlayStation 2, but that's a bit of a different story on how that worked out. I got the Xbox in Christmas of 2002. I know it was a Christmas 2002 because it came with probably one of the best-known bundles that came with the Xbox, the Sega Bundle Pack, because it was released with two really great games, Sega GT 2002 and Jet Set Radio Future, two games that I really love. And of course it had like all these trailers and whatnot to kind of hype the Xbox and why you should get like Xbox Live. But this like really weird thing promoting it, just some guy who used to be this had like the best rank or something, and then there's just this new person that comes in that starts beating them at everything. And it's a little bit different on how it's edited because there's different versions of it, but the one that was included is just like a guy in an interview talking about his experience, and then just getting beaten by this unknown person with a low voice. And then he just freaks out and loses his mind and says, you know what, I need a job. And then at like the end, like the guy suggesting his job position is that he like dresses up as like a chicken, like showing that he's a chicken for not trying hard enough or something like that. Anyways, that completes this one, so on to the next one. And here we are for the last, at least regarding the locations that we went during the career mode, for at least movie-wise. This is of course Monaco, where we did the last one, Live Twice for Tomorrow, in... You may recognize this Ferrari here is the one that we chased in the first stunt, because yes, you actually can unlock this vehicle. How do you unlock it? Well, I'm guessing you either have to complete the story mode, or you gotta get 100% on everything. I don't know which one is right, because honestly I don't remember, but because I got 100% and everything, I unlocked it. You don't get this as a promotional vehicle, of course, because what else would the promotion even do to you in the game if nothing else happens after Live Twice for Tomorrow? It wouldn't make any sense. So, yeah, you just kind of get that one, and that's how it is. But yeah, going back to that Xbox Live thing, I always thought that's just how it was for years. Just lost to the guy, he has an interview for a job, and the guy asks him to dress up as like a chicken. It's like making fun of him in a way for, I guess, not trying hard enough. It wasn't until years later that I found out that there was actually a second version of that completely removed the interview aspect of it and just focused on the guy. It was the same kind of premise, and excuse me, and pretty much it was just, you know, him and getting his ass kicked and then trying to get his friends to join, and they get their asses kicked from this person. And it wasn't until it was revealed that this is how it was set up, was that the person they were losing to was actually a young teenage girl, which probably not even teenagers, like probably like 10, 11, 12 years old or something. So it was like really supposed to be insulting or something. Not really sure why that version was never released, but who knows. It was pretty much just a way to promote it. There was like their own little silly, stupid video that they... Oh yeah, I screwed up there. Their own little silly, stupid video promoting Xbox Live. It was very early on. I could tell it was very early on because they actually showed Revolt being played on the Xbox. Revolt was a RC game that was published by Acclaim, and that was originally supposed to be released on the Xbox as one of the first Xbox Live titles, but the further development of the game never got through, and the game eventually got cancelled. But it was given out to Xbox Live beta testers on Xbox Live beta discs, so it does exist in a form and is playable, but there is glitches, of course, because it never got finished. So yeah, that is, of course, Monaco, and now that only leaves one last one, so let's get right to that. And, of course, that now just leaves us with the arena speed test, which is a little bit different, because you actually have, like, ramps and jumps and whatnot that really kind of make it all interesting. This one is also probably the most difficult by far. It's very frustrating in the sense that a lot of these jumps requires a lot of high speed and a lot of precision, and there's some cases where some cars can't even make the first jump because they can't get enough speed for it. They really did not think this one well over, which honestly is very unfortunate, because apart from that, the layout of the track is actually quite nice. You get these kind of larger ramp pieces that you can't really, unfortunately, can't really get anywhere else unless you can, and I just don't know it. And also, I just saw different views. There is a kind of semi-interior view, but you can't see the dashboard, so unless it's a certain kind of vehicle, but yeah. I don't know if you can actually do this with the ramps in the game. If you can, please feel free to tell me, because if that's the case, then I really do not know what I've been doing wrong. Or, I'm sorry, not doing wrong, but I didn't know you could set it up. But yeah, regardless, this is just difficult, and after many vehicles and many failed attempts, I just said screw it, let's just try it with the Stuntman sedan and see how we do. And nevertheless, here is that run, because I managed to finally get it done with the Stuntman sedan. Hooray! I kind of actually really wanted to do it with a different vehicle, but unfortunately I did not get that done. You get a bit of a jump though from that, which was pretty fun. So yeah, I'd say out of all of them, the speed tests are interesting. There are some very good ones, but I would not call them my favorites. I'd say the last one that's about to come up in the next part would be my favorite one. How exactly are those stunt test ones, though? Well, you're going to have to find out when we get to that next part in Part 9. So, But yeah, this is going to go to at least 10 parts, which is pretty nice. 10 parts, not including the credits. If you include the credits, that's 11. But hey, it's at least a good way to get this game done. It's just such a fun game to play. If you've never played this game before and you really want to play it, I would recommend putting this into your collection, unless you're just not a car guy. So, but there we go. That is finishing this one up, and that's going to cover it for this part. Like I mentioned, in the next part, we're going to be taking a look at the stunt tests and whatnot. So, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys next time on the YouTube and our GameAnyone.com.